Goth girls, the topic of conversation tonight.
Hold on. We're talking about Gwenom, right? Your deck.
The deck, yes, but it's
What do you mean goth girls?
goth. You don't know what goth girls are?
No, dude. We said we were talking about your deck.
Yeah, but Gwenom's a goth girl, and we all had our famous childhood crushes, like cartoon goth girls.
No, we didn't. We did not actually.
You are alone in that category.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Shigo, Kim Possible, Thorn Q, Hex Girl Scooby Doo, Sam Monson, Danny Phantom.
Okay, so what deck did you bring to talk about today?
Gwendolyn, Total Drama Island. Nothing?
No, I don't watch cartoons.
Okay. Man just destroyed my whole childhood in a sentence.
So like I said, what deck did you bring to talk about today?
I brought Gwenom Remorseless.
What's Gwenom do?
Gwenom is blast the Citadel in the command zone. When she attacks, until my end of turn, I can look at the top card of my library, and I can just play those cards by paying life instead of their mana value.
That's crazy. Why did you build Gwenom? So Gwenom's mono black, right? How much does she cost?
Mono black, she's a 5-drop.
Okay. Why did you choose Gwenom?
Why I chose this was because I had a rough night in my pod where I got just demolished by Carvold and just overpowered bracket 4 decks where I just didn't have anything compete. And I got home at 11 and I stayed up till like 4 a.m. just crafting something horrendous to compete with them.
Okay. And this is what you chose.
This is what I chose. And
so you think this is a pretty strong bracket 4?
Yeah, it's definitely high bracket 4. It could creep into bracket like 5 if I made some switches, but after playing this with my pod, I think they'd slap me if I upgraded it anymore.
I mean, I've lost to it plenty of times already. I think it's won way more than it's lost.
It hasn't lost yet.
No, it lost. Oh no, that you didn't lose that game.
No.
You're right. I don't think it's lost yet. I got excited for a second. Okay, let's talk about the deck. So you can play anything off the top of your deck. You play life instead. So you got some life gain in here. You got some. You got just other things in here that is allowing you to combo. Is this a combo deck?
It is a combo deck with a couple possible like storm combinations. Storm counts important here. And then as many 2-card infinites in mono black as I could possibly chalk into this deck. So it's literally like any turn that Gwenom's attacked, I have a chance of winning if I don't hit a land and I can't filter that top.
So was there any Spider-Man theme in this, or is it just pure?
No, the only Spider-Man theme is just Gwenom.
Okay.
I don't think there's one other Spider-Man card because, to be honest, that set kind of sucked as far as like playable cards. So it was very hard to work in and like stay within a specific character arc theme.
Okay, let's talk about your playstyle a little bit with it. So, talk through your first like turns 3 through 5. You know, you're trying to build up to getting Gwenom out. What are you looking for? Hoping to draw, hoping to get on the battlefield by turn 5. Because I'm assuming you're trying to win by 6, maybe 7.
That was the most millennial joke I've ever seen in my
I don't watch cartoons.
Life. Yeah. So this deck, I'm hoping to win by turn 5. If I
crazy.
Don't get much interaction on my side, I will win by turn 5. But the perfect hand in this deck is a turn 2 win.
Explain that. How turn 2 win? I just don't even understand those words in the same sentence.
It's pretty much, Swamp, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet first turn.
God hand,
and then maybe one more mana rock, or like a quick mana fixer. And then turn 2 is Dark Ritual, everything else, Gwenom, and then Lightning Greaves.
And then just
swing,
just play off the top.
And then hopefully
you're just searching for the win.
Yep, and then hopefully 2-card combo right off the bat.
But if that's somewhere near the bottom, if you can't find that combo, you lose to life drain.
Yeah, I have come very close to losing the life drain. Like I said, like you've been in a game where my win con was literally brought me down to 1 life for me to win the game.
Yeah, and then I lost.
So that is kind of a worry sometimes with this deck, but there are plenty of creatures and sorceries and you name it that I'm not really worried ever that I'm going to lose from draining myself.
So I think you've only played like 10 games of this. It's a pretty new deck. When you're talking about all those 2 deck infinite combos that you have, what's your favorite combo to play so far?
My favorite combo to play so far is the Professor Onyx and Chain of Smog. And I
Planeswalker.
know you give me crap for running a Planeswalker.
Yeah, Planeswalker notoriously I don't think are that strong in Commander.
They aren't, except when
There's exceptions, but overall I just don't think they're that great.
Well, they just serve a very specific purpose if they're in a Commander deck. And the reason why Professor Onyx is amazing in this deck is because whenever I cast or copy an instant or sorcery, each player loses 2 life and I gain 2 life. And so the point of it is I can chain Smog myself, targeting myself, and it doesn't matter if I don't have any cards to discard because it just says target player discards 2 cards. That player may copy this spell and may choose a new target for the copy. So I just copy it, target myself, copy it, and everyone gets drained from Professor Onyx.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, for you, not for me, though.
Yeah, so there's no blue at the table. There's no counters. I win right away with that. It is at sorcery speed, so it can be a little hard to work in, but it is such a fun combo.
Okay, so that's your fun combo. What's your most annoying for your opponents? What's your most annoying way for them to lose? Like, what do you get the most salt for when you're at the table winning a game?
I think Tristan would say when I gain life, opponents lose life, and when opponents lose life, I gain life. There are like 4 cards that make that 2-card combo possible in this deck, and I think it's been like the 3 times I've played this deck, it's been that combo that takes him out. And so I'd say that's definitely the highest like salt meter rating that I've gotten.
Is that because of the combo, or is that because Tristan?
It's hard to say. I think it's more the Tristan because he puts fake limits on himself when deck building and then gets mad.
He's a good deck builder.
He is a good
He's
deck
a really
builder,
good deck builder.
but he puts limits on himself and then gets
He
mad
just tries
at
to play
people
even with the rest of the pod. It's fair.
for
Anyways,
not following those limits.
When you were building this deck, what was the hardest part about it? Like when you were looking to fit things in here? I'm sure you had a list of like 120, maybe 130 cards. Can't get them all in there. What were some of those hard, difficult steps you had to take?
I think price was a hard thing. I was trying to break even by selling off some cards I don't really play or that were in my collection, and really trying to keep like my own personal spending under like $50. And so the total price for this deck on Moxfield came out to like $385. And so that was just like selling cards and trying to keep it doable. Like there was some like Day of the Dead, like lands that were super expensive that I could have worked in that were like, I really had to cut because I just didn't want to go over that price point that I set for myself. I think that's like a hard stop for a lot of people when building like a high bracket 4, bracket 5 deck is like, it's a hunt to find good cards that combo off that aren't going to be in that $1,000 price range.
But in a mono black deck, you can get away with having just basic lands.
Yeah.
For a lot of it, at least.
Well, yes and no. Like Cabal Stronghold was like a need in this deck, and your lands, those are an untapped resource that everyone needs. Like in my decks now, like my most expensive point of my decks is my land base because it builds me up who I can cast creature spells fastest. I can get all my win cons out fastest. The lands are where it's at when you're building a deck. And so I feel like I don't have enough special lands in this deck. Like I need more copy lands to copy like Cabal Stronghold because Gwenom's going to get countered 4 or 5 times if people are really interacting. So I need to get extra mana out to be able to recast Gwenom.
Gwenom definitely seems like one of the commanders that a lot of commander decks you have to play around the commander. You have to have your commander out. But Gwenom specifically, you likely will not win the game if she's not on the battlefield. And so if she is getting countered, she is getting removed, it's likely you really need to be able to get her back out, and that's where those fast lands come in.
Yeah, it's almost. I think I got away with it a couple of times I played this, where people countered it so often that they were like leaving me alone because they knew I wasn't a threat. But because Gwenom is, as soon as it hits the battlefield and I can swing, I have a chance of winning, even if it's turn 10 and I haven't done anything all game.
Does Gwenom have to hit or just swing?
No, it just needs to swing, and it doesn't matter if she's removed afterward. Crazy. I continue to get that trigger until the end of my turn. I do have Belasted Citadel in here for redundancy in case Gwenom gets removed too much, because artifact removal is a little bit harder to deal with than creature removal.
Do you mean Belasted Citadel?
Belasted Citadel?
It's BOL, but that's okay.
Belasted.
Belasted.
Molasses.
I think it's molasses. We're about to get made fun
I
of.
don't
in
know.
the
Yeah,
comments. Let us know.
yeah, let us know.
When you're building this or talking about it with somebody else and they're looking to build a Gwenom, what do they need to really keep an eye out for when they're doing this stuff?
ETB triggers on creatures. So, you could go like Abhorrent Overlord for some blockers. Like, you have to think long term. Like, if you can't get a win con out, what can you do to set up some blockers to protect yourself? Because people will swing at you immediately to try to get you out of the game. So, Abhorrent Overlord it enters and it creates black harpies equal to the amount of my devotion to black. And then also creatures that double damage on opponents during my turn. So like Bloodletter, Archfiend of Despair, and just kind of creatures that mess with my opponents a little bit. So like Archon of Cruelty, I normally don't put into decks, but this one, hey, making my opponent sacrifice something is worth it because it slows them down, allows me to get my stuff back. And then just some classic like Runescare Demon. I normally don't run in decks because it's such high costs, but it enters. It's a tutor. I can grab my senseis. I can grab my Aetherflux Reservoir to like really storm off and win the game.
Totally. So out of all your wins so far, I know you talked a little bit about some of the 2 infinite combos. You talked about your favorite. Do you have one that was just hilarious? You just couldn't help but laugh at it. Like that shouldn't have happened, but it did. Like just some silly moments with this deck.
It's probably been, there was a win like 2 weeks ago and I could not find, like all of my like true infinite combos were at the bottom of the deck. And like I was searching, I was at like, I had built myself up to like 80, 90 life. All my opponents were like running kind of life gain in their deck. So they weren't really getting drained as much as I wanted them to without building it back up. And I think in my final 10 life, I flipped over Gary or Grey Merchant at Asphodel. And
I like
my devotion into black was like, it had to be like in the 20s. And I had some like I had Bloodletter out too that turn. And so it was just hilarious how fast that turned, where each opponent lost 20 life. And then it was doubled to each opponent lost 40 life. And I was able to find my win con by gaining that life. And it was just like, I shouldn't have won that game.
Yeah, I get that. In your local pod, is there, when you're playing against people, or not even in your pod, but if you were to go to a commander night at an LGS or something, and you're playing against people, what kind of decks do you hope not to see at the table that are really going to interfere with your win?
Blue control. Like any real control deck.
A lot of interaction.
It'll stop it because all they have to do, like I said, is counter Gwenom. And black doesn't have a ton of like protection, so it's really hard for me to like really keep Gwenom out. I have other things, like sometimes I'll play my Bloodthirsty Conqueror if I have it in hand before I play Gwenom to draw out those counters, but there really isn't anything that I'd say like is going to stop me more than a straight up counter spell.
Mm-hmm. Just keeping Gwenom off the
like if they keep it, I don't win.
Now, if you had to pick one content creator on YouTube that you've watched to play this deck, maybe who do you think would pilot it the best, or who would you love to watch pilot it?
I would love to see. Oh, that's such a hard question.
Any of the creators?
I would say no, probably not you.
Okay.
I feel like you're just.
I probably couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, the triggers would be abysmal for him to hit the triggers.
It'd be a long turn time.
Gosh, anyone on Commander at home, like the common guest there, I'd like to see Josh Lee Kwai, like see how he builds it. Because frankly, like I'd want to see like where I'd compare. I mean, obviously he has access to a little bit more resources, but a lot of their decks they play on their channel like are buildable somewhat to the average person. So I would want to see like, hey, build this high powered and
see what he does.
Yeah, make it like try to make it my price point and see what the heck we can do.
Yeah. This price point isn't out of reach for most people, I would feel like, or maybe it is, I don't know, but for the average deck, I feel like this is kind of in the ballpark. If someone was new to building it though, what is like one infinite combo that they have to put in there?
I would say I lose life. When opponents lose life, I gain life, and when I gain life, opponents lose life. Just because it's such a combo with like Aether Flux, like all you have to do is gain life every cast, and someone like you don't need the whole combo to win. You just need part of it. So that could be like Bloodthirsty, and then Exquisite Blood. It could be Sanguine Bond, Exquisite Blood, Enduring Tenacity, or any of those ones, and boom, you win right away just by getting somewhat damage done.
I feel like some of the most important parts of this deck, since you are paying life to cast some of these, wins, is you have to have life. So you have to gain life. If people are swinging at you and hitting you too much, you might not be able to dig for that win, though.
Yeah.
So you have to have some serious life gain triggers in here.
There's some huge life gain triggers where it's a Grey Merchant of Vassaville is always my savior. And then like Diamond Mare, or I think it's Diamond Knights. Diamond Mare is whenever I cast a spell chosen color, I gain life. So there's a couple of like those ones that I'm just looking to get a little bit of life off that cast instead of just paying.
And are you casting from the top of your deck? Is that a cast?
Yeah, so you're casting. So like Aether Flux nods up really quick to where you're netting yourself a huge amount of life. And then I usually like finishing that off with a Tendrils of Agony if I get that storm count high enough, where it's target player loses 2 life and I gain 2 life, and it has storm. So it copies for each spell cast before it. And if I have senseis, like I truly don't need to be gaining life because I can get senseis and myself, like my life low enough, casting senseis for 1, that I can get that storm count up to like 20, maybe like 30 before I'm like really worried. And then I can cast Tendrils and it has 30 storm counters on it and I win.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's awesome. I've played against the deck a few different times now, and I regretted it every time I've left the table. It's pretty good. It's pretty powerful. It wins quickly. It wins with some dominance. It's pretty good. Do you have any last things that they need to know before about this deck or about building? I know we're going to post the deck list in the description here so they can look over it, but anything they need to know when they're looking at it?
I would say as many like 0 cost spells as possible, because when you're filtering through your deck with Gwenom, you're going to get a huge chunk of the way. You're going to hit Tendrils, or you're going to search for it, and that's just an easy win con. So a Quarter Shield, Ornithopter, it's in there, and it may not seem like it does very well, but it's just to get that storm count higher. Another one is it's for Aether Flux as well. If I cast a 0 spell, it's still going to trigger Aether Flux, and it's going to be my 15th spell that turn. I'm just going to net 15 life for Gwenom. The other thing is the importance of running the lands, like I said, Cabal Coffers, Cabal Stronghold, and then I have Echoing Deep so I can copy it. But really being on curve, like I need to cast Gwenom before turn 5 every single time.
In order to guarantee the win.
Yeah, so I chunked every mana rock in my collection into this deck, and I don't think I've had a game yet where I didn't cast Gwenom on turn 3. I've had a few actually turn 2 cast, which is consistent. And just knowing how to mulligan to get there. Like please keep a one land hand if I have a Dark Ritual and Cabal Ritual in hand and a land. Like I'm going to keep that hand because now I'm like, okay, I have an easy 2-turn, like first turn Gwenom or second turn Gwenom right in my hand.
Yeah. Commander on turn 2 that's pretty powerful.
Especially when your commander's winning you the game.
Once it swings.
Yeah, once it swings.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, dude, it's a great deck. Thanks for sharing it with everybody. I'm excited to see what you guys let us know in the comments, how you're going to build the deck. Correct any mistakes Carter has. Let us know if you are building it. We'd love to see the deck list, and our deck list is in the in the description.
Yeah. I will say, I know you will point out my X cast spells. I put them in there for a reason, and I still like them. I know it doesn't reduce it from Gwenom, but I will say it's still in there.
But it's still in there. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.